Yes. I'm alive, my friends, and today it is time for us to see what the Age of History 3 community has created to make this game a better experience for all of us. Welcome to the top 10 mods for the unforgettable game which we all love, and which is definitely worth every cent of your time. Today, I present to you mods which, in my opinion, are the best and will change your experience in some ways. But first, let's talk about the general trajectory of the game modding community. When I was looking through the mods which have been recently added, I was at first surprised that there are lots of mods which sound pretty promising, but it seems to me that the community of this game is still lacking the mass in the sense of actually producing products that are somewhat quality content. Yes, you may argue in the comments that it's just the mods created by the community and that there are no binding obligations. Therefore, it is already a big achievement that there are mods like those I'm about to show you in the Steam Workshop. But I'll be honest with you, it is still not enough. The beacon of hope is still here. The game has recently released and the modding community needs time to mature. I would say that any good and great mods which are needed in this game will be better implemented after a year of release. All the mods you see today will be in the description section if you would like to download them and play them yourself. So once again, welcome back to the channel, and if you're not subscribed, I would be happy if you would, because I would be honored if you do. Thus, let's finally begin. The first and the most useful quality of life mod is the take provinces from enemy allies in the peace treaty mod. This mod is most useful mod out of all the mods in this video because it allows you, as I think you understand already, to take provinces from your enemy's allies. I do not know why the developer didn't already implement it into the game, as it is very reasonable, but this mod fixes the inconveniences caused by the vanilla mechanics. Thus, I would say that this is a must to actually play with this mod, as it fixes the systematic grind of nations if you are going for a world conquest, for example. The mod isn't difficult to navigate and is very simple. After you take down the enemy, you can take territory from their allies in the same way you take it from your direct opponent. Also, this mod is great, but you cannot puppet or forcefully ask for reparations from your enemy ally, which is a downside of this mod, but nevertheless, let's hope that the developer will add this feature into the game. Are you looking for a hot Warence experience but your PC can't handle the load of the Paradox flagship game? Well, I do have a final solution for you. It is called the HOI3-Style Map in the Age of History 3 game. Yes, you heard me correctly. The number 2 spot for this mod review is an Age of History 3 style map, which will not only give you that perfect 2009 vibe, but it will also give you the illusion that you are min-maxing HOI4, but in Age of History. In essence, the mod is good, I can't complain. I wouldn't say it is the best UI change, but I do think that this will change your experience if you play with this UI in a World War II scenario, for example. Thus, I hope that this mod will satisfy your HOI4 needs, and let's move on the next beloved mod. The next mod, which to me seems a bit more engaging in the sense of forming new nations, I would say that the nation forming in Age of History 3 is not too bad, but I always found it a bit blunter in the Middle East region. To be more exact, the Turkish Formable nations. The mod itself isn't mind-blowing, but it brings 11 new formable nations in the game, which to me seems a great add-on if you're willing to play in the Turkic region of the map. Thus, the mod is simple and allows for a bit more engagement in the game. All in all, a simple mod for not so simple concerns. Finally, we are coming to a bit more global mods, which are now going to be way more interesting in my view. The Crusader Faith Mod. I would recommend this mod to people who enjoy the history of Crusades. While it does bring scenarios like the First Crusade, the Rise of Islam, and the Battle of Ankara, the gameplay tweaks feel more like surface level changes than transformative improvements. Yes, there are 12 new scenarios and updated formable civilization like Jerusalem and Seljuk, but don't expect these additions to massively change how the game feels. Visually, the mod does well. HD flags, new icons, and the custom loading screen gives it a fresh look. The addition of 60 plus music tracks and the sound effects adds a lot of atmosphere, making the gameplay more immersive. The tweaks to things like buildings and siege values do introduce some variety, especially for those who are looking to explore more historical scenarios, for example. While it may not revolutionize the game, it's a solid option for players who want to dive into the medieval setting and experience a richer world in Age of History 3, for example. The reason I actually decided to put this mod into this top 10 is because it is a cool mod for people who want to experience Bloody Europe in Age of History 3 rather than in Age of History 2. The mod itself has a lot of scenarios. You might ask me how many, and I would say to you a lot. Although, you must keep in mind that this mod is a port from Age of History 2 and the province size is small compared to Age of History 3. Thus, this mod fundamentally loses its primary advantage, which it had in Age of History 2, which was a much bigger map with more provinces. Although this is now a disadvantage, I would say that the mod still sells because of the various scenarios it has. Also, as previously said, the mods are not too detailed. Same with this mod as well. The mod just has lots of scenarios with no real event system. Thus, it only leaves me thinking that this is an okay mod. Good for a couple of weeks max. All in all, I would still recommend it because it is still fun to play. Now, the goodies are arriving and it is time to talk about actual mods which I would play myself. Jokes aside, the mod which I'm about to recommend to you is called After the Big War 1920. I would say that this is a very interesting year to start a scenario as it allows for so much replayability. For example, play as the Whites in the Russian Civil War, or as Ukrainians and survive the Polish and the Russian attacks from the west and the east. Thus, I would say that this scenario mod is great because of the idea it holds, but as with some mods in the review, it lacks some things such as a literal war between all of those countries. Why doesn't Russia fight Russia? Why doesn't Ukraine fight Poland and Poland fight Ukraine? It is very disappointing from my perspective, but nevertheless, I'm ready to accept that it is a parallel reality where the war suddenly stops and everyone is living in the status quo. I give this mod a 7 out of 10. The now famous mod for the Nordics, the mod which brings the Nordic region closer to the player's eye. I present to you the Norrvägen Mod, which features a new map with over 2,000 provinces. The map is well made and covers not just Scandinavia but also Britain, parts of Russia, Germany and the Baltics. Why? Because all these regions were impacted by the Viking raids and conquests. It's a nice touch for historical accuracy, and you can tell that this mod is made with effort and detail. The mod comes with 11 scenarios, such as the Rage of the Normans, the Kalmar Union, and the Great Northern War, so there's no shortage of options. It also adds over 500 new civilizations, but honestly, they're just names on the map. Don't expect anything groundbreaking there. The soundtrack is pretty good and helps with immersion, but the mod itself is a port from Age of History 2, so you can feel the limits. For example, no unique formable nations, not much beyond the shiny new map. That said, the map itself is a main selling point and is great for anyone who enjoys Scandinavian history or just wants a bigger playground. It's not perfect, but if you ever wanted to rewrite Viking history or lead the Kalmar Union, for example, this mod has you covered. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the video, but now it is time for us to explore the mod, which takes place 2 years after World War II. The mod itself is unique to this game as it is based on the Cold War. The mod is called 1947 Cold War, which ultimately is a huge step from all the other mods because of one thing: it has a singular scripted event, which is the Chinese Civil War that ends rapidly in this mod with the communists claiming victory. Thus, this mod deserves some traction from the community as it attempts some event implementation into the game. If the developer didn't abandon the project, I would say it has a solid start. The setting of the game is great, but what bothers me sometimes is the satellite states of the Soviet Union can literally start a war with each other and you have no control over it at all. But you have to keep in mind that this isn't the mod's fault, but the developer's mechanic. I do recommend this mod as it actually brings some Cold War vibes and it is very fun. Although you must keep in mind that mod doesn't have any historical alliances such as the Warsaw Pact or NATO, which does break the magnitude of the conflict that could have otherwise simulated World War III quite well. Now, the one and only Kaiserreich, a new future mod. The mod which brings the new world order to the table if Germany won World War I. I would say that this mod is similar to 1947 mod in the sense of the mod mechanics. Although it doesn't include any scripted events, I would say that this mod is a very good mod. Indeed, and it would be fun to play in Age of History 3. It has the layout of Kaiserreich borders and it would be fun to actually play as Russia, for example, or Ukraine or France. I mean, especially France, because toppling the German domination in Europe would be challenging in my opinion and satisfying as well. Also, it has a lot of potential for future development as well. Thus, I would say that this mod is one of the best Age of History 3 can offer. Not because it has new mechanics or anything, but because it is Kaiserreich. And finally, you all have been waiting for this moment from the beginning of the video. The mod which is the flagship of all mods. The mod which is the most advanced and with the most potential. The grand masterpiece Millennium Dawn New Order mod. I would say that this is the most thorough mod that there is now. This mod has events and it has real alliances. Additionally, it has a real map with the 2022 borders which almost look the same as in reality. The Russian occupied Luhansk Republic isn't supposed to have this province, but in general the mod is very interesting. It brings alliance power balance. In my opinion, as Russia cannot now attack Europe without starting World War III, which by the way is also a scripted event in this mod. Yes, there are events in this mod such as the 2024 US elections and the Russo-Ukrainian war, and some other ones as well. I would say that this is the most exciting mod there is on the workshop market, if you can even say so. It gives a different style of gameplay where it introduces events which change the way the world changes. Thus, I would say that this mod is the best mod which you can play if you buy Age of History 3. Now, after complaining all along this video, it is finally time for a conclusion. I would say to you once again to subscribe if you still didn't. I would be honored. And most importantly, let's finalize the video now. In essence, the top 10 mods of this review are good and bring lots of content, which is just scenarios. But from the other perspective, it's not only scenarios but also new experiences for players who are bored of the same maps. Although I must point out that for the game to stay alive, it is imperative for mods to introduce some mechanics into their mods because it will prolong the replayability of the game, but I do not know if it is possible to do so. Thus, I will say that the mods you have seen are only the beginning of something more. Well, at least I hope so, because if not, the game will die very quickly. But on the bright side, I'm about to get 2k subscribers if you subscribe.